13 in the 5th set. They really did give them all they could handle. Maybe that's inspiration for this match here this afternoon. And we are underway, and swing down on the left side, but it was blocked. Penn State again getting the block up there on the right. For the 3rd time, this time it's a soft block, and they're able to go back on the attack, but the ball just swept back over by Emmy Selman, the former Buckeye. And then that swing goes well out of play, no touch. And so the Nittany Lions win the first rally.
Yeah, and you see right there just that battle at the net, that Penn State block really affecting Gauthier on that outside for Ohio State. And the question is for the Buckeyes, with Jones going down, who is going to step up? Obviously losing your leading attacker, that's such a huge part of your offense.
Gauthier and Mina Güneş, the Turkish player, and sisters on the Turkish national team, 2 of the candidates to step into that role. That service error makes it 1-all. And Ohio State gets the ball back. And on the serve will be Mia Staller, a freshman from Zanesville, Ohio, as the Buckeyes still bringing in the cream of the Ohio prep talent. There's a tough serve, but it was nicely dug by Jillian Grimes, the libero, and then a cut shot for kill by Kennedy Martin, who's leading the Big Ten in kills per set.
Yeah, what a get out of the transfer portal this offseason for Penn State. Getting Martin out of Florida, I mean, she's having another great year. 2-time All-American, over 5 kills per set coming into this one.
They lost some great talent from their national titles team, and that's a great answer. That ball was not really played according to plan, but it still worked, as just enough contact on the ball made by Kaya Castle to record the kill.
Yeah, just got enough lift on that ball right there. You see Ohio State, they're definitely going to want to get their middles going, and Kaya Castle has come along really well here in her redshirt freshman campaign.
And some of their middles might be in a position to really step up. Reese Wepker, who led them in kills in that match against Michigan, and was very efficient as well, as another one. And there's an overpass, rushing to cover it, but they're able to tip it back over, and then having gone all the way up to get the ball originally, the Ohio State libero could not get back for it, Olivia Hasbrook, as that corner was open. So it is 3-2 now. And the serve by Jillian Grimes, second team all Big Ten selection from Penn State. Ball goes out wide to the right, big swing, and once again, we see the kill recorded by Kennedy Martin. Jess Maruzic, who was the most outstanding player last year in the NCAA, is no longer with them. Izzy Stark, their outstanding freshman setter, was National Freshman of the Year, left earlier for mental health purposes. And Kennedy Martin has been quite an addition to the team, and there will be a net violation, or a double contact, and that will be a point for the Buckeyes as they try to stay competitive early here in this opening set. And it'll be Mia Tuman on the serve, now one of the returnees with the most experience on this squad, one of the leaders.
Yeah, now a 3-year setter here for Ohio State. And it looks like Penn State might want to take another look at that one, so we're going to get our first review here today. So you mentioned the original call, double hit. We'll have to take a look at this one.
Tuman going over to confer with the up official. And it certainly looked on that play in real time as though there was something that was out of the ordinary that would have resulted in a whistle, but we will see.
The big part for both these teams here in this first set, obviously every point matters, even on early reviews like this. Get another look at it, but just to get off and running early. Don't put yourself in a hole. So obviously both these teams wanted to get going. You see a look at that 1 point award to Ohio State.
Originally, it appeared to me that the Penn State player might have been in the net, but they rendered the double contact call.
A second referee, Patty Rolfe over there. Brianna Spain's the first referee. Line judges Robert Fenn and Drew Puckrin. You see them standing here on the near side, and Rolfe, the second referee, still over at that video monitor, so it just shows how close that call was, and it looks like we got the verdict.
So the first contact on a block attempt does not count for the three. But they do reverse it. So it might have been that they called the double contact, the first contact off the block, and then there was another contact off the blocker before the ball was played again. But on the review, apparently they have reversed that judgment, and so the point will go to Penn State and perhaps cost the Buckeyes some early momentum here as Grimes back on the service line again. And the first set performance for Ohio State would be really important to try to get in this game. Grimes moving to her left in that libero jersey, showing why she is such a highly regarded player. And they work it to Carolyn Jiravicius, and she gets the kill. The former Ohio Division II Player of the Year out of the Cleveland area. Of course, her father, Joe, is an outstanding 11-year NFL pro and a 4-year wide receiver at Penn State. They go out wide, the block is there, and it's saved by Jiravicius on a dive for the ball. And she was able to pancake it, then they get a strong block in the middle. And now they're in system. They go with a back set and a big swing by 18. That's Kennedy Martin again, and she is continuing to perform at her All-American anticipated level. Really showing her versatility here. Her first kill on that cut shot, then went into the block, her last one, and that time goes cross-court. Really just moving the ball around, spreading it, keeping this Ohio State defense off guard. And they kept them off guard with that back set when they had a number of options and they were in system on their pass. And Ohio State calling for the touch, and they get it. So that will be a kill for Reese Webker, number 17. In the first set, she had 6 kills on 7 swings, no errors against Michigan, and they were really looking very good until Hannah Jones went down. Yeah, that was arguably that turning point in that first set. Ohio State really kept it competitive with the Wolverines on Friday. Then after that, it just kind of went downhill for Ohio State, and Michigan was able to cruise after that. So obviously Webker can be a huge part of this offense. The second set, they went down 25-9, so it definitely had a lasting impact on the match. There's a big swing and a center line violation call, or a back row attack actually, called on Ohio State, and so it will be Penn State point, 7-3. And they had a good swing set up there, and they were ready to record that point, so that's not the kind of thing that you want to have happen. And they play that one out to the left. The 2 blockers are there. And again, Webker down the line, covered by Grimes. Have to be tipped over by Jiravicius, swinging from the back, but the ball went long. Nevaeh Gaudier got a lot into that, but unfortunately could not keep it in play. You see that Penn State block right there with Lyon and Hop on that right side affecting that early attack for Ohio State. And then just later on in the rally, tried to go to the back row, switch it, come from the middle, and just left it too long. Lyon, the setter that stepped in, and Grimes could not settle that ball, and no one could track it down. And Webker recording the kill. And that makes it 4-8. And Webker now back to the service line to try to keep the momentum going. But her serve is long, and when you get a big point, that's the one thing you do not want to do, is to just give it right back. No, and that's what Ohio State has done a couple of times here early on in this first set. Obviously, that service error right there, the violation a couple of points ago. That's what you can't do against such a talented team here like Penn State. Carolyn Jiravicius, and her serve goes long, so just alternating service errors. Carolyn Jiravicius, her sister Ava is also on the squad. Daughters of Joe Jiravicius, the outstanding NFL receiver, Super Bowl champ with Tampa Bay. And Patrick Ewing's daughter is on the team as well. Alexis Ewing, freshman. And service ace as Ohio State makes the score 6-9 now, and trying to gather some momentum here. Kaya Castle trying to keep a service run going. That serve passed by Emmy Selman, the former Ohio State Buckeye, and then she got the ball back on a swing, but Castle was right there for the block. Yeah, Castle right on cue right there. One of the leaders in terms of blocks this season for Ohio State. Abby Yoder on the serve, pardon me, 18. Castle 19 making the block there. Yoder again on the serve. And she goes short there and beautifully drops it right in front of Jillian Grimes, who couldn't get to it. And Ohio State's right back in contention now.
That's the second ace there in 3 serves for Abby Yoder, who had only played 13 sets coming into this one. Gets a big service substitution early and is providing some impact.
That ball skimmed the tape but went over. They get the slide, the swing there by Hop, block. They get back in the middle, and the ball is put away by Addie Lyon. Addie Lyon, a St. Louis University Billikens transfer, and she's the one who really stepped into Izzy Stark's role when she stepped back from the program and has done an excellent job for them, bringing experience to that position. And now Jordan Hop, number 5, back to serve, and you see a lot of Buckeye fans trying to unnerve her, and we have another service error, so we've had a lot of those of late.
Yeah, I believe that is Penn State's 3rd here in that first set. Indeed it is, so that's keeping Ohio State within arm's reach right here, back within 1 after that service error.
Now it's Mia Güneş, southpaw server from Turkey. Swing from the back. Oh, Kennedy Martin just put that one away, not only with pace, but perfect location in the back corner.
Yeah, had been sitting around the pins her first few swings and then just gets moved right to that 10-foot line. And like you said, not only with pace, but good location on that one. No one was there in that back corner for Ohio State.
See why she's a 2-time All-American. That ball swept over. Good coverage by Jocelyn Nathan. And that one just misses. Martin almost painted the line on that one. And Ohio State fortunate to come out with that point.
Yeah, that was a good dig right there by Nathan before that. Really had to kind of twist her body to dig that one out before it gets to that back line, and then they tried to set Martin back up, and that time just a little too far.
Mia Staller now for Ohio State. Serving back right and in the middle, and Gabrielle Nichols had to readjust in flight there on that one, could not tip it over. She made her first ever start against Rutgers and did extremely well, as she got a total of 10 kills and a .421 hitting percentage.
She had 12 kills coming into that match, so pretty much doubled her kill total just in one match.
And an overpass here, a free ball. Ohio State needs to take advantage of plays such as that, and they do. On the slide, Kaya Castle puts it away, and Ohio State, after getting off to a slow start, they were down 8-4 at one point, now up 12-11.
Yeah, and Castle went right at Nathan that time in the back row, and after that nice dig she had the rally before, just not able to dig that one out.
And they took advantage of the overpass. Right back to Martin, and again, just gets so much torque on that ball. Even when they get the soft block up, the ball just flies.
Yeah, big kill right there for Martin. That snaps 3-0 run for Ohio State, and Martin now up to 4 kills here early on in this first set.
It's been remarkably efficient. Her one hitting error just barely missed on a cross-court shot that she almost dropped in the corner. And there is an ace for Ava Faldudo, who at one point was the number 4 recruit in the nation. And it's not surprising that a program like Penn State with 8 national titles gets that caliber of recruit. And now she'll go again after one ace. Ball skimmed the tape, a joust. It is pushed over by Mia Tuman in the middle, but that just allows them to set up Martin for another kill on the right side.
I mean, that just went perfect location there, that back line for Ohio State. Staller, the near defender there, but just not able to dive and dig that one out. And Martin just heating up here early. It's now a 3-0 run right after that Buckeye 3-0 run for Penn State.
Faldudo opting for the float serve. It's very effective. And then an up by Grimes on a big swing coming back the other way. And it's out, Jaravicius, but the ball was touched on the other side. And it will be Penn State up 15-12 now, and timeout as Ohio State will try to get some momentum going here. As they did a good job coming back when it seemed to be a bit of a turning point when they lost. Penn State won their appeal, and they moved out to a good lead. Then Ohio State led 12-11, but a 4-point run since then by the Nittany Lions. So let's take a break. We'll be right back. 15-12, Ohio State. There's Kaya Castle. You mentioned that she's one of the players who's having to really step up now, leading the team in blocks, and she's also been an effective attacker. They go to the middle, and there is a strong block by Gabrielle Nichols. And she's continuing to earn floor time with plays like that.
Yeah, that she is. We were talking about Kaya Castle right on cue. Buckeyes tried to set one up to her, and Nichols just sent that one right back.
Go behind the 10-foot line, and the swing wide by Gunesh.
I caught some hands, it looks like.
Well, they called the touch, so it will be Ohio State breaking that 5-point Penn State run.
I think
it looks like they're going to look at this again on review.
That one was certainly very close, obviously. From the naked eye, it was very tough to tell whether that did catch some hands. Buckeyes immediately started to contend as soon as that ball was hit that it touched some hands. So we'll see if they have a gripe or if Penn State, another good review look here potentially. That earlier one went in favor of Penn State after the reversal, so we'll have to see.
They could look at all different angles and slow things down and get a perfect look. But here's our best look. Well, that was a shot earlier. You saw the appeal for the touch. Sometimes this can be a very, very fine line between whether the ball was actually touched or not. But the last one of these going for Penn State maybe turn the momentum a little. If Ohio State can win this appeal, maybe it could turn it in their direction.
And especially when you have to think about it, too, what was the initial call on the floor? They said it was a tip and Ohio State point, so you have to have indisputable evidence on whether or not it's able to be overturned. So that's another aspect you looked at. What was that initial call? In this case, it's going in favor of Ohio State.
So there you see, typically the contention is that someone in the front row got it, but in this case they're saying that the player in the back row might have gotten the arm on it. But this time the appeal goes against the team that initiated it. Penn State once again benefits from the call as they rule that the ball was not touched. So it is 17-12. Boy, what a difference it could make. It'd be a 1-point match if both of those appeals had gone in favor of Ohio State. And there's a roll shot, nicely covered by Addie Lyon, and a block at the net. Lyon this time goes cross court to Jaravicius, and it was Hasbrook playing it. And they bomb it on the left, and a good dig there by Grimes, although still run it off the court. It gets him out of system, and Jaravicius rolled it into the net. And Ohio State, some good defensive hustle on their side of the floor, results in them winning the point.
Yeah, good defensive hustle on the other end by Penn State as well. Grimes to dig that one out, keep the play alive. And then you mentioned Jaravicius just kind of came awkwardly off her hand that time. Gets a better touch, has a good opportunity at a point.
Hasbrook, this time again. This time Jillian Grimes plays it extremely well. It's covered in the back by Gunesh. They go to the left again. Ohio State signaling for the touch. They do not get it, and they all looked over there kind of incredulously.
And it looks like we're going to get another review.
This time you wonder, because you can often tell by the players' immediate reaction what they really think happened, and Webker didn't look like she was trying to sell the idea that the ball was touched, rather that it was just a natural outgrowth of what she saw happen. So we'll see. Maybe Ohio State has a better chance of prevailing on this appeal. But of course we will wait for the final judgment. They have all of those tools at their disposal.
Well, Penn State and head coach Katie Schumacher-Colley won both of her challenges so far. So Ohio State head coach Jen Flynn-Oldenburg's hoping that pattern stays in favor of the coaches here on this challenge. But that was a one right down the line, and if that was not touched, that's a heck of a read as well by Jillian Grimes in that back corner, leaving that one, knowing where that ball is on the floor to let it go out of bounds. So if there is no touch to the net, that's a heck of a play right there by Grimes. And obviously every point is important here in the set, so if Penn State can win a third challenger, you mentioned obviously those are 2 and now potentially 3 points that could have went in favor of the Buckeyes, and that's where you see some of those swings here just on reviews.
See the Buckeyes over on their side surrounding Coach Jen Flynn-Oldenburg. She was Ohio State 01, Katie Schumacher-Colley's Penn State 99, so I'm sure they probably opposed each other on opposite sides of the net. Schumacher-Colley was the first female coach ever of a Division I national champion, and the call this time, as I maybe surmised, might go to Ohio State just based upon the reaction of the players. So that's an important one for them. Had they not won that appeal, they would have perhaps been in dire straits in this first set, but now they have a chance to build a comeback as Hasbrook, their libero, making the serve, goes short, but Penn State sets it up perfectly for the kill by Nichols, but Jaravicius, who was able to play that short serve.
It's great setup for Nichols in the middle, and she really can get up on her jump. Got high over that net and just saw where that leak spot of the defense was in the back for the point, but right there, Nittany Lions giving the point right back.
The purpose of that short serve is often to get players to try to play the ball that don't typically pass, including your front line players, but front row players, but Penn State reacted perfectly, but they give it back on the service here, as you said. So it is now Mia Tumen. And an overpass, and it's put right down by Reese Webker, as that was right in her wheelhouse. And Ohio State back within 2.
Yeah, Webker right there taking advantage of that overpass. Just dumped it right back over the net, and that now ties Ohio State. They have 6 kills now. They had 6 attackers as well, so hitting triple zeros right now. Really need to get that attack going here.
And again, serve played nicely by Grimes. Gunesh got under the ball. They work it up to Webker, and she had a line on it, but it just went long. The flag goes up. That would have been a very valuable point for Ohio State to collect.
Yeah, that could have been indeed. And Webker, still a solid first set, 4 kills on 11 attempts, 1 attack error. But you kind of mentioned, started 6-7 in the first set on Friday against Michigan. Here, a little bit of a slower start.
She'll try again here. The block is up. Lyon pushes it out wide and swing by Hop, chasing it down. Hasbrook with some great hustle. They bump it over, but a free ball here for Penn State. Again the slide, again Hop. This time no one will get to it. No! Hasbrook at least got her fist on it, beach style, but couldn't get it back to one of her teammates. Still tremendous effort on her part.
Yeah, heck of an effort right there by Hasbrook, but Penn State attacking Mia Tumen twice there on those swings. They both came off to the left on her touch. Hasbrook was able to save the first one. That one got a little too far. Wasn't able to save that one. That's going to draw an Ohio State timeout.
Timeout on the floor. Let's take a break. Penn State, that big swing. And that was 2 opportunities. Hop really drilled the ball, and Hasbrook got back for it. And then the same thing happened again. I didn't see how she even came close to it, but she nearly saved the point again. Now off the slide and the kill. Ashley Carr gets Ohio State back to 17-20.
Yeah, Carr there getting her first kill. She's now the 3rd Buckeye to get in the kill column right there. Penn State has had 5 players pick up a kill here in this first set, so you see the Nittany Lions really spreading some of the offense around. Ohio State just trying to get some people going.
Reese Webker getting ready to serve. 183 kills, nearly 3 kills per set. And as another one of the players, maybe even primarily, that's going to have to really step it up because she's the leading attacking player now after the injury of Hannah Jones, who had 3.6 kills per set before she left the lineup. And the ball into the net as Martin trying to get that cut shot from the back. But it is 18-20. Hopefully they might get Hannah Jones back. They're not certain what the duration of her injury will be, but they certainly need her out there. Here's again Martin. Hasbrook played it after they made that initial contact. Tipped over, and a great sliding save, but then a block right in the middle. And Gunesh put it right back down. That's the volleyball equivalent to the slam dunk, the solo block. It gets the fans going.
Yeah, get some energy, like you said, back into this building. Ohio State back within 1.
They've trailed most of the way, and here's an overpass. Let's see if they can get a good swing out of this. They go wide, and that will be the kill to tie it up by Gautier. And it is 20-all.
That's a 4-0 run now for Ohio State. You get one of your freshmen involved. Gautier right there. Just goes down the line, rolls it off some hands, and I believe Penn State is going to have to take their first time out here.
They gave him the overpass. That's one of the real keys in volleyball, especially at this level. You don't get a lot of free balls. You have to take advantage. We'll be right back. State trying to go in front, and we're into the red zone. And this is where Ohio State has had some problems closing out, or their record could be considerably better than it is. Sometimes it just comes down to a very narrow difference between winning and losing. Let's see what they can do this time. Webker on the serve. Martin again. Webker just could not settle that. She got a platform under it, but there's just too much pace on that ball.
You see just the game plan there for Penn State. Get the ball to your best attacker, let her go to work. And Martin right there from the 10-foot line just able to find her 7th kill here of this first set. And that snaps a 4-run for Ohio State.
She's one of those players that doesn't have to be in the front row to be a real threat. Jocelyn Nation from Wilmington, Delaware on the serve down the line. It is played by Gauthier. She managed to save it, but didn't really get the kind of pass that she would have liked. And the shot went long. And it's 22-20. Another well-placed serve. Made it difficult to pass and find your setter. And another timeout. Penn State with 2 coaches' points, as they say. Breaking that 2020 top. So it was 2016, then it was 2020. And Penn State came back, and you see there that last one, there was no touch on the play, and the ball sailed wide. But so often the coach is able to settle down their team at a timeout. And that's why coaches' points are deemed a very important part of volleyball. Let's see if Ohio State can take advantage now and tighten this thing up again. Back, Gunesh, and they keep it alive and put it to the back. Once again, it looked like that might be a kill. Originally, she comes back with a cut shot. This time it was off the Penn State player. It will be a kill. So Gunesh with 2 consecutive attacks. The second one clicks, and it's down to 1-point margin again.
At first, when you don't succeed, try again. Gunesh tried that cut shot the first time around. Good scramble by the Nittany Lions, but just went right back to the well, and that time converted.
Yoder overpass, and the kill by Gauthier, and it is now tied at 22.
Just feels like we're on a seesaw right now, don't it?
It sure
when
does.
the momentum shifts one way, then it shifts back the other. Ohio State 2 straight off that timeout to tie this thing right back up.
Volleyball is such a momentum sport. Sometimes there is no such thing as momentum. Slide, hop, the blockers get there, and Ohio State has surged in front. They are 2 points away from capturing the opening set.
Penn State still has another timeout, but let another rally play on here. Chance for a 4-0 run here for Ohio State.
Yoder. Ohio State could have a set point if they can get this. And that shot was out. And now it is double set point at 24-22. And this would really get this crowd going. Yoder again for the set. Swept over by Emmy Selman. Back the other way to Gunesh, and the kill! And Ohio State has taken the first set from Penn State. Down 22-20, they get the last 5. Back a lot harder in their next matchup, and they certainly have done that. The way they came back from being down, got to give them a lot of energy, and they started off well. As the quick in the middle, Kaya Castle gets Ohio State off and running in set 2.
And you see Ohio State really just trying to supplement that middle. You get Castle set up on a slide right there. She puts it down. Get yourself ahead. Keep that momentum going. It's a 6-0 run now dating back to the first set for Ohio State.
Hasbrook, they were down 20-22, won it, and now they have the first of the second set, but that one goes down for Addie Lyon as she goes over on the second ball. It just could not quite be pancaked by Hasbrook.
That was a heck of a setup right there for Lyon, for Nichols right there. She had to just put her fist out, was running away from the play, and gave her a good set.
Out wide for Webker. Pass nicely, they find Lyon. She goes across with a quick tempo set. The blockers are there. Great up by Lyon in the back, and then excellent coverage on the other side of the floor to keep the ball in play. Slide on the right, and the big swing by Martin, and a great up there in the back. Once again, Ohio State keeps it alive, and once again, Gunesh is all over the place, and there's a dig in the back row by Stoller. Put over again, and there's some really strong blocking going on, and finally they set it up for the final exclamation point as Carolyn Jeravicius with the kill, but not before an outstanding rally.
I was going to say that thing might never end. Felt like it Couple of good digs on the back end by Stoller, but just that Penn State just so lethal. Attacked that freshman once again, and that time she couldn't dig it out. Jaravicius collects the kill.
Webker passes the serve. They go over on the second touch, then right back over on the right. And Gunesh is playing well in the back row. They set for Webker, and she comes down with the kill to tie it at 2.
Webker's got such an interesting profile there on the outside because she's only under 6 foot on that outside, but she can really jump, and you saw it illustrated right there. Elevated herself over that block to find that kill.
Mia Tuman entered the year 13th in career assists. She's had over 500 more. In the middle, the block, and that is Hop. We had good hops on that one, and stuffed that shot for the kill for Penn State to go up 3-2.
Yeah, Hop collecting now over 70 kills on the season after that.
Martin just skims over the tape, but keeps going. Then the slide and cross court, and finished by Ashley Carr. Beautifully executed there to tie it again at 3. That was not an easy ball to set. She put it right in her wheelhouse. And now Webker for the ace. As it could not be handled by Faldudo.
And that's one area in this match so far that Ohio State has had the advantage in. Now their third ace of this match right here. Penn State also has 4 service errors as well from the line, so the Nittany Lions definitely looking to clean up the service line.
Errors and aces can go a long way to making a difference, but there's a great line shot by Jaravicius. She had a career-high 20 kills in the national championship match last year when they beat Louisville after a storybook finish when they defeated Nebraska, a reverse sweep, and they were down 22-16 in the 4th. Came back and won at 28-26 and then took the 5th set for that national title a year ago. Now over to Gunesh, the lefty on the right, and the joust there, and Ohio State puts it down. And a great effort in the middle by Gauthier to win that joust, and it is 5-4 Buckeyes.
And Martin right there was the one trying to dig it out, got her hands to it. It just kind of came a little high off those hands, and the joust ended up going in favor of Ohio State right there.
Yoder to the net, quick set in the middle, and Lyon found Hop. And Hop has been a factor here for Penn State in a positive way here in this early second set. But she'll rotate out now. And on to serve for Penn State, Lexi Ginn from Indianapolis, a freshman. They have a number of young players trying to fill some big shoes on the squad. Out on the left again to Gunesh. The block converges there. They try it again. That block is all over the place. That is Nichols, who covered that one in the middle, then down the line. And it was out on the attempted swing by Gauthier. But again, they had 2 or 3 opportunities at the net. Kept repelling them. Emmy Selman and Gabrielle Nichols forming a wall.
Yeah, you kind of just hit the nail on the head right there. Obviously, that Penn State block really affecting that point. Not able to find a clean block, but doing enough to keep the ball on the other side of the net and eventually just try to go to that line shot and down the line. It looks like we're going to get another review here from the Cabelli Center.
Take a look here at how that play concluded. Another situation of whether it was in or not. I suppose it was close to the line, and of course helping out the official very sportingly is Jocelyn Nathan, letting them know that she had the best look at it, or it could be something at the net perhaps to see if the ball was touched. Penn State won the first 2 appeals. Ohio State got the last one, which was a very important one for them to help fuel their comeback in that opening set. Looks like we're going to have a reversal.
That was a great look by our Big Ten Plus camera crew right there. You saw it was razor thin, but that thing looked like it just perhaps caught that corner right before it went out. So it looked really close, and Ohio State's going to end up winning. So we still have not seen an unsuccessful challenge. Both the coaches on their game here today.
Penn State player wouldn't have singled it out if it was in, would she? Well, she probably just couldn't tell how close it was. There is Gunesh, and now some people would say the volleyball gods have rendered a verdict there as the ball goes back to Penn State. That is a classic legend among volleyball coaches. And now it's Addie Lyon, 6-all. And slight overpass. Nichols couldn't put it right back down. In the block on Gauthier. Another opportunity. This time she reads it and tries to tip, but it's covered by Lyon. Bump set by Grimes, the libero. Put over. Good coverage there by Tuman. Another strong block. They'll try the right side with Martin. Webker kept it up. Quick in the middle. What a rally going here. Over on the left. Ginn tips it deep. Back to the net. Gauthier attacking from the left. And the ball blocked, but out. And a point for Ohio State, and a great extended rally there. The Buckeyes prevail.
We've seen some good rallies here today. Another extended one, and the Buckeyes just go back to Gauthier. And Martin got the hands to it, but off her, looked like her right forearm and out of bounds, and that one goes in favor of Ohio State.
She tools the block to make it 7-6. Tough float serve. Grimes handles it quick in the middle, but the block put up, and Ohio State gets another big point as Castle was there. She read that play in the middle, read that quick, and just blocked it, and that threw Penn State off, and they could not do anything with the ball coming back over. 8-6. Staller the serve, and that one is into the net. 7-8. And both teams showing some inspired play here in the second set. Penn State trying to pick it up after dropping the first set. Ohio State trying to retain their momentum. And that service error gives a little bit of a breather for both teams. Grimes on the serve. And Webker pulled away, realizing that it was going to be out, and she made the right decision.
Yeah, good call right there by Webker and Ohio State. This is sort of how that first set kind of went. Neither team able to pull away until you hit that 10 plateau, and that's where we started to see those runs come into play. So very much like the first set here so far into the second. Those
Centerville people are very intelligent, and she made that intelligent play to get out of the way of that ball. Webker, she was District Player of the Year for the Centerville Elks. Bump set Webker again on the attack. Grimes found the setter nicely after playing that ball, then down the line by Martin, and she converts it to make it 8-9.
That's the first kill in this set for Kennedy Martin after 7 kills in that first set. Took her a minute to collect her first one here in the second. You just see her go right down that line, keep it in.
A little bit of housekeeping as they wipe condensation off the floor. Official directing particular areas that need to be tended to. And now Grimes again. She was all tournament team both in the NCAA tournament and the regional tournament. So she came through big in the clutch. Here's Webker again. They got the block up. Grimes puts the ball across. They stop Martin. They got that soft block up and the swing. Ohio State calling for the touch. And the officials do not concur. Ashley Carr on that swing. We'll see whether we get another review. It could be a reversal.
And it looks like it was.
They rendered a decision, but they did reverse it. Ohio State got it. And that's 2 for 2 for the spontaneous reaction system. It looks that you can kind of tell that the player is reacting because they really mean it instead of that they're just trying to induce an official's call. Often they're right. So Ohio State with a 10-8 lead. That's a 2-point swing from 9-9 or 8-10. Or 10-8 in this case for Ohio State now. Serving with Tuman. There's the back set for Martin. And she missed wide. She had a hot hand in the first set, but cooled down a bit. As you mentioned, we've gotten well into the set before she really got a good swing. And she doesn't seem to be quite as on point as she was in the opening set, at least for the moment. 11-8, Tumen goes with the float serve. It's handled. They give it back to Jurevicius. Quickly, Ohio State gets in system. That one covered nicely by Grimes. And Hasbrook with a great dig. They work it for Webker. It tips. Lyon got there. It takes the setter out of the play. But they still got a good swing. Now off for Gunesh. Back set, Martin, and count that one. Another lengthy rally, but this time Penn State puts it down and makes it 9-11.
And you see there Martin getting herself involved, and I think Ohio State has really made it a mission in this set to take Kennedy Martin away from the play. 25 attempts now, hitting 200, so getting her kills, but it's definitely been a lot tougher here in the second set. That's going to help.
She gets an ace there, and on that previous swing, she resorted to the tip because the blockers were there and keying on her. Now it is 10-11. Two-time All-American. 2 years ago, she was second team at Florida. Last year, first team All-American at Florida. And another ace as she gets the benefit of the tape, and then they practice their dance moves.
And that's a 3-0 run for Penn State. That's going to draw an Ohio State timeout. You look at it, mentioned earlier, Penn State trying to clean up that service line a little bit. They get two straight right there from Kennedy Martin, tie this set up at 11.
Timeout on the floor. We'll be right back. There is Kennedy Martin. She just had a big kill and a service ace, leading the Big Ten in kills with 363 kills per set at 5.18. And we mentioned that with them losing some key players off last year's national champions, she was just what the doctor ordered for Penn State to come into the program.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, not only obviously leading the Big Ten, but one of the top attackers in the country, led the nation in points per set last year. It's third in that category this year, fourth in kills per set, coming in with 5.18 per set coming into this day, and she's having another big day.
She was South Carolina Player of the Year in her prep days. That ball took off. I guess they iced the server. Chalk up another coach's point, and Ohio State up 12-11.
It's one way to put it, I guess. Ice the server. Obviously, Martin had the two straight aces, comes off and overcooked that one attack.
Webker, and she went long with the serve. We've seen a few of those back-to-back service errors, and that gives it back to the Nittany Lions. And it will be Jocelyn Nathan to serve. We're still neck and neck here in this second set. Ohio State trying to go up two. Here's Gunesh with a swing, and the blockers are there. The back row had moved up, and the back area was vacated off that strong block, and it's 13-12.
It looked like Selman and Hop combined it on that one, and it just came right down on Gunesh's hands that time. If she's not there, might been able to be kept off the floor, but just came awkwardly off her hands.
Selman, all freshman team in the Big Ten on behalf of Ohio State last season. Now swinging there, Selman. And there was a token gesture for a touch, but I don't think she even believed that it really was.
Yeah, Selman's on the board now. She had been 0 for her first 6 attacks with an attack error. Actually, beg your pardon, it looks like that went in favor of the Buckeyes. So still 0 for it.
She joined that block on the previous play, but not officially credited. The roll shot there is covered over there for Gunesh. Martin going down to pass the ball. A strong block put up there in the middle. Once again, Gunesh combining with Castle, but finally they get it down as the kill recorded by Selman. And that gets her on the board.
I mean, what another get out of that transfer portal for Penn State. Selman trying to get it going here in this one, but just a year or so ago was one of the most highly touted players in that recruiting class for Ohio State.
And nice pass of that serve. It just rolls over after walking the tape for a moment. And then Selman again. This time she's a little more energetically calling for a touch. And we may this time get another appeal. We are going to. The last time she just put it up, it was like, okay, obligatorily, but this time she really believed that the ball was touched by the opponent. So we'll, again, test that idea. as they're going to determine which team will be in front.
And you just see they're trying to set up Selman right there. Castle really getting up and getting her hands in the way of that shot. See if it touched her, but there's been a ton of these reviews today here for the first couple of sets, and obviously talked a little about it earlier, but especially down the stretch of these sets, a close set like this, neither team's pulled away. Obviously Penn State, if you fall down 0-2, it's not the end of the world, but that certainly doesn't help the case. Every point here is vital. So this is where you're happy to take this challenge, because a 2-point swing here in the middle of these sets can be so big and build up. You saw that in the last set. Penn State had won 3 reviews in a row, and that, for the moment, had put them in a good spot before Ohio State was able to come back and take that set. So you're wanting every point you can get, and just another look at it, how close that was.
That from a different vantage point. Again, difficult to tell, but they have all the technology going for them, and they are going to reverse the call again. So, again, it appeared to me that this time Selman really felt passionately that that ball was touched. And it is 15-13 Penn State rather than a tie. So, again, that 2-point swing. And here is Jordan Hopp. She played very well in the start of this set to keep Penn State right in things. Tipped over by Gunesh. They go out wide and then just swept across by Selman. So a little finesse there. When the power doesn't work, go to finesse. And she records that kill to make it 16-13.
You see Ohio State trying to take Kennedy Martin away from these plays. Penn State really trying to feed Emmy Selman. That's back-to-back kills for her and a 3-0 run for Penn State. So that's another person you don't want to let get going if you're Ohio State.
Serve goes long. And at the moment, Martin in the back row, so they have to find their attacking power elsewhere in the front. It is now 14-16. And of course, Martin can still be a big factor in the back row with her ability to hit from beyond that 10-foot line. That swing by Nichols is blocked. Out wide, Selman again. Goes cross court, but misses well wide. And Ohio State creeps back to within a single point. They have just not gone away. They've shown a lot of persistence here when, in contrast to the other night when they lost to Michigan. After putting up a strong first set. There's a kill by Selman, as Webker just could not handle that one.
Another kill for Selman. She's up to 4. She really shined in the match between Ohio State and Penn State last year. On the other end of the floor for Ohio State, she had 27 kills in that 5-set win for the Nittany Lions a year ago. So starting to find that form again here in this one.
Yeah, a moment ago we said she didn't have any kills. Now she's got 4. And Gauthier was blocked there by Nichols and Martin. And it's 18-15 Penn State. Penn State still has a number of players who are major contributors to that national title, and they know what it takes to come back, especially in that semifinal victory last year, and they're digging down for it now. To avoid going down 2 sets to the Buckeyes. Gauthier, and this time she puts it down. Just tucked inside the line, and it's 16-18.
You mentioned Penn State knows how to dig down. So does Ohio State. This was sort of the same situation that these teams were at in the last set. Ohio State down about 3 or so near that 20-point mark. They're able to come back, find that big run. So trying to find that deja vu once again.
Stoller serve, pass by Selman. Now Martin's back up in the front row. And as good as she is in the back row, that's where they like her the best. And she just recorded another kill. The leading attacker in the Big Ten makes it 19-16.
Yeah, Hasbrook and Stoller, they gave it a good effort. Just ran out of real estate that time. The fans in the front row right there on the court got up close and personal there with Stoller and Hasbrook trying to make that big play.
The crowd is right on top of the action here. Gunesh with the kill as she goes cross court. Put it right at Addie Lyon, but just could not get under it. And it's 17-19.
And you could tell by the face that Lyon made. She knows she should have had that one. Right at her, was in good position. Just, you kind of said, could not get underneath that one. And that's a point that Ohio State will take.
Hasbrook trying to go down the line for the serve and got it for an ace. And they're back within one. The Buckeyes just will not go away. By no means look like a team that's still searching for their first win in the Big Ten.
They're up to 4 aces now, as you can see by that ace counter in the shot behind Hasbrook right there.
We were at 20 all in the first set. We're not far from that here in the second. Jurevicius. Hasbrook moved to her left to play it. Now Webker. Big swing by Gunesh. The block is there. Jurevicius, but then tipped over on that second ball by Tuman. And it's 19 all.
And good awareness by Mia Tuman right there. Went up like she was going to set that ball up, but she knew that middle of the defense right there had an open spot. Saw it, just dumps it over, finds that spot, and 19 all.
She entered this match with 2,558 career kills, or assists, I should say, and an ace there. Tuman could be bearing down on her coach by the end of the season for the all-time assist list for Ohio State. And with that service ace, it's 2019, and the Buckeyes win that race to 20 again. Timeout on the floor. They're trying to go up to Team Ohio State as the Buckeyes are 5 points away from going up 2-0 here. And you see their crowd's into it now. Everybody believes they can win this match. And the team certainly believes it as Hasbrook, one of the team's veteran leaders. She said before the season they have a really tight-knit, cohesive squad, and they are looking like it here today. And she goes for the short serve. Grimes is able to cover it back for Martin. And that ball went under the net. And I said we could be at 20-20 again, and here we are.
Yeah, this is the same point that it was at in the last set, and that's when Ohio State rattled off a 5-0 run to finish the set. So we'll see what we have in store this time around.
Jillian Grimes to serve. And passed well by Webker. And then they get it over to the left. I thought that ball was going to drop, but they got to it. But then again, the back row pushes up, and the block results in the point. And a great effort there by Carr, and it's 21-20.
Ashley Carr seemed inevitable in that moment. They tried to get that slide. It was sent back at her. Ends up getting that block right back down. So she gets her point in the end. Every point so crucial down the stretch here. Ohio State 4 away on their march to try to take a 2-0 lead.
That back row comes up in case they have to cover a soft block, and sometimes that leaves the back end open. And so now Ohio State trying to go up 22-20. Tuman on the serve. Jurevicius came down with a vicious swing down the line to tie it at 21.
Yeah, Jurevicius, nice location that time. Found that soft spot down the line. Her 5th kill here. And back to 21 all.
Kennedy Martin, 6'6" junior. A big serve, but passed by Staller. Over for Webker. Up by Grimes on a great dig. Across to Jurevicius, and she bombs it. And Penn State takes the lead. I thought Ohio State had a good chance to convert earlier, but Grimes showing why she was all-tournament team in the NCAA champions and second team Big Ten. Timeout on the floor. Penn State now has leapfrogged. Penn State trying to stave off a second consecutive Ohio State set win. Is up 22-21. Martin back serving. Came up with an ace. She's been a very effective server throughout the match. But again, Ohio State likes having her in the back row, but she's been tough serving, as we said. But Staller passes that one. Back for Ganesh. That ball was out and tried to cut the ball around the blocker, and it's now 23-21.
Yeah, definitely not a lot of margin for error on a shot like that. Just couldn't keep it in.
Trying to do anything they can to get Martin off kilter a little bit, and she does dump the ball into the net. She tried to switch to the short serve there, and it is still a 1-point deficit as Webker accepts the ball.
Yes, 8 service errors now for Penn State. That is double what Ohio State has, so definitely still trying to get more consistent from the line.
From the back, Martin, and she just drilled that one. Tuman had no chance.
I mean, look at Martin just flying out of the gym right there, right from that back row to find that kill, and now set point in favor for the Nittany Lions.
Deliberately set her even though she was in the back, so it's double set point. Nathan on the serve. And Ohio State gets a good swing. Carr, three players get a hand on it, but the ball was too elusive, and Ohio State's within 1 point of pushing us beyond 25. Yoder trying for another one. See, they're just trying to give her that little extra from the bench. She goes in the direction of Grimes. She passed it well. Martin is just soaring through the air like an eagle. And when that happens, you're in trouble. And it's 25-23. Penn State escapes, going down 2-0. And it's game on here at the Cavelli in the next match, and we've certainly seen that. Here we go, third set. Gunesh on the serve. First attack by Nichols, and that one clicks for Penn State as she got the back set off the slide.
Yeah, Penn State going to the middle right there. Nichols is someone, haven't said her name a lot there in that second set, getting started early in set number 3.
Addie Lyon, setter from St. Louis, transfer and service error. That's the 9th service error on the match for Penn State. And you want to get them serving aggressively, and some of the errors they've made have not been on particularly aggressive serves. Here is Staller. In the middle for Nichols again, and she's off to a flying start in this second set. She made her first ever start and did it extremely well, and I'm sure impressed her coach, Katie Schumacher-Cawley, to continue to go to her. And now it is Jillian Grimes. Katie Schumacher-Cawley replaced the legendary coach Russ Rose. He was his assistant for many years. There's a slide, Gunesh, and the block. Nichols and Juravicius, and Penn State has really come out very strong here in the third set.
That they have indeed, and I mean, you want to just put some distance between Ohio State, or if Ohio State can find that run, put some distance between Penn State here early.
We haven't had too many three-point runs either way, all match long. And the ball drops. The block was there, but they couldn't press through and get the ball back on the other side. And the kill recorded by Castle, and it is 2-3. Hasbrook to serve. Sometimes those blockers are just a little too far off the net, even though they're in position. And the ball drops on their side. That's a tough serve and an ace. Tying it at 3.
Yeah, Hasbrook picking it up right there. That's looks like to be her first ace of this matchup here, and her 17th on the season for Ohio State. You said that was a tough one to reserve.
That when Grimes can't handle it, you know it's tough.
She got down pretty much as far as she could get, just couldn't get underneath that ball.
Hasbrook again. This time goes down the other line. Yeah, they work at the Juravicius. Blocked in the middle. Martin, Penn State was already celebrating, but Ohio State able to bump it back over. It is a free ball, though, in the middle to Nichols. And the kill. And that's what happens when you have to scramble to get the ball back over. You're often out of position when it comes back, and if you can work it back quickly, you can capitalize on the second attack.
And that's exactly what happened. Obviously, Ohio State, the good dig on the other end. Penn State thought they had it, but stuck with it and took advantage of that out-of-position defense.
And the ace by Grimes to make it 5-3. Just been a back-and-forth match. Every time you think that maybe a team is starting to get that cushion a little bit, the other team has made a counter run. Grimes again. Webker passes serve, lunging to her left nicely. Gunesh tips it over in the middle. And a pancake. Gunesh has been playing great defensively. Maggie Mendelson nearly got that kill off the tip. Now the big swing by Martin. Hasbrook overpass, but she was able to keep it in play at least. And then the block on Mendelson. Ashley Carr again, getting some assistance from Webker. And it's 4-5. Boy, first the hustle by Gunesh after it looked like Mendelson's tip would go down, and then that strong block. Mendelson was an outstanding basketball player from Ogden, Utah. She actually played both ways. She played 2 sports in Nebraska. And there's the kill by Martin to make it 6-4. And I have no words to say what an accomplishment Mendelson made by playing 2 sports at this level.
Yeah, that's certainly a tough thing to do. And on the other end, you can see Penn State dating back to the end of that second set, starting to get Martin going once again. Her hitting percentage back up into the 300s.
Mendelson had not been on the floor in the opening set to speak of. She's made an impact. That service error, though, makes it 5-6, and now back to Webker. Penn State now to double-digit service errors. Martin from the back in the kill, and they'll set her, even though she's not in the front row. They'll go to her figuring they have as much or better chance of getting a kill from her in the back row than anyone in the front row. And you have the advantage of not having a blocker right on top of you when you hit from there. And it is 7-5. Nathan at the service line. Webker finds her setter nicely to Gunesh. Covering the line. Grimes, big swing. Too much on it for Tuman to handle. And Penn State goes up 8-5 as once again they have a 3-point margin.
It's another kill as well for Kennedy Martin, up to 17 here. That leads the match by far.
And that has been the rule for her all season long. And that ball into the net. If anything is hurting Penn State's effort, it is the mounting number of service errors that they have been guilty of. That's what kept Ohio State as close as they are here so far in the 3rd set. Yoder across the tip, and it goes for the kill by Mendelson. Here were Mendelson's basketball numbers in high school or last year. 14.3 points, 8.61 rebounds, 1.6 assists, 1.5 steals, 1.9 blocks. She was the ultimate stat stuffer, and she stuffed her stat a little bit more there with that tip. In tight, play it back out. Whistle for a net violation on Penn State.
That ended up hurting Penn State too, because I think that swing by Gunesh ended up going out of bounds. So you mentioned obviously the service line for Penn State, but just little errors like that have allowed Ohio State at times to stick around a little closer than perhaps they could be.
Gunesh probably has similar aspirations as her sister to play on the Turkish national side. From the back row, Webker's swing handled by Martin, who plays a capable back row too. Second ball pancaked by Grimes, but a whistle again. And the ball was ruled down before that pancake got the ball up again, and it is 8-9.
Yeah, I had wondered when that play initially happened. I thought that did hit the ground initially, and after a closer look, they ruled yes.
Another service error. Both teams have been rather generous sometimes in redeeming another team's mistake, or to not capitalize on their own play. It's now 10-8. Lyon to serve. Hasbrook dove to her left to keep it aloft. And a big swing and a kill by Gauthier. And it is 9-10. These teams are just stuck together. They have been almost all afternoon.
And Gauthier now up to the Ohio State lead with Webker at 6 kills herself.
Mia Staller. Float serve. Handled by Nathan. Martin again. Hasbrook gave it the old college try, but to no avail against Martin, who's just, once she's back to where she was early in the match, where they just seem to tee her up, and then she finishes it off. Second set, she was maybe not quite as active until the end. when it really counted. Faldudo serve, ace. That makes it 12-9.
Yeah, it took a little off that serve, it looked like. Just able to get that ace picked up. 5 now on the day for the Nittany Lions.
He was a 2-time All-State player in Illinois, Faldudo was, and one of the top national recruits. Was serving error again. I think more so than in the first 2 sets, the service errors on the part of Penn State have been a big factor in keeping this as close as it is. Left the door open for Ohio State. Let's see if they can come through it. Hasbrook, ace. Hasbrook, the team leader in aces, had 16 entering this match. And a good example of why there.
It's now 3 on the day for her.
So one more will be 20 aces on the year. And she's going for it on that one, but Grimes is able to keep it up. And they go out to the right, and Martin just finishing things off with great efficiency and power.
Yeah, beautiful cut shot right there. Just having the skill to keep that one in bounds.
13-11. Webker passed the serve, finds Tooman, tipped over. Faldudo wide, now Grimes goes for the tip. They anticipate that big shot, she can go to the tip. In the middle to Mendelson, yes! 14-11, Nittany Lions.
Yeah, and Mendelson with a nice swing there. That ball just popped up, put on a silver platter, and she definitely didn't make that one miss.
Service error by Grimes. Once again, they get that when they're in the position of trying to increase their advantage.
And you mentioned how it just seems like more in this set alone, the service line has plagued Penn State. That's now 6 service errors in this set alone. That's half the Ohio State points here in set number 3.
And sometimes they haven't been on aggressive serves, which sometimes will account for service errors. Juravicius, and 15-12 as the ball was touched on the Ohio State side. Timeout Buckeyes. When you consider the number of points they've been given by Penn State has had a real edge in play in this 3rd set. You see Penn State there, 15-12, their upcoming schedule. They've got a couple of good ranked wins already this year. As they beat number 17 USC, number 7 Wisconsin. They've got Indiana, Purdue, and Minnesota. But one thing about them, we talked about, they got Martin in to help replace some of the players they lost, but they lose key players, but it doesn't always happen immediately. You've got to mesh as a team. And so even though their record isn't what it was, they were ranked number 2 at the start of the season. Now they're 18, but this is still a very dangerous team.
Absolutely, and you just look at just the depth of this Big Ten conference as well. 3 ranked opponents for the next 5. Illinois last week was receiving votes in the ABCA poll, so just from top to bottom, there's a lot of big matchups that can happen on any given night here in the Big Ten. That just illustrates it right there. Penn State, one of 3 teams in the Big Ten with 6-3. 6th record, that is. So, I mean, just a lot of movement going on near the top of that standings.
Ace by Martin. I'm sure they're a much more cohesive team than they were at the start of the year, and how they perform in those final games against all those ranked or near-ranked teams will be a good indicator of just how strong they're going to be for postseason play. It's always one of the elite programs, and Martin has been as effective from the back row or the service line as she's been in the front row tonight. And Ohio State having to take another timeout. Coach's points don't work when you get a server like that on the line.
Like lasers off her hands right now, just pinpoint precision. It's a 3-0 run for the Nittany Lions.
We took a look at the Penn State schedule. Now let's look at the Ohio State schedule. Now they had a front-loaded schedule. They played a lot of their toughest opponents earlier in the year, and I would certainly think now Rutgers only has 1 win in the Big Ten as we speak. That would be their chance to at least get off of the basement of the conference. And after that, I think there's some more winnable matches.
Yeah, that's for sure. Obviously, a lot of tough teams early. You see Wisconsin's on the agenda there. Ohio State also played Nebraska, the very last match of the season, but certainly some winnable ones if you just look at in terms of the standings of the Big Ten here for Ohio State. But I'm sure their mind's on the future right now. Right here is how do we get back into this third set after Penn State starting to pull away a little bit here down the stretch. 3-0 scoring run off the back-to-back aces by Kennedy Martin. So that's what's on the mind of the Buckeyes right here because, they're still very well within this match, but tide's starting to shift a little bit towards Penn State.
The way they played in the first 2 sets is the way they're going to have to play the rest of the season to win any of those matches going forward. And certainly this afternoon, Martin, they got to figure out a way to get her off the service line. And
that'll help.
That's the way to do it. Coaches point Ohio State. And, they really do get into a rhythm serving-wise, and she was. And the 2 bombs for aces just prior to that. The timeout has maybe changed the rhythm just a little bit. Now Webker trying to keep the momentum going. They get the slide to Mendelson, though, and she converts. Lions finding her with the back set.
Yeah, Mendelson really becoming a big part of this third set here, picking up a few kills, now up to 3 on 6 attacks. You just see on the slide, Ohio State brought the double block, but was able to catch the hand of Carr down for the floor.
Yeah, they weren't sealed, and Mendelson had an easy put away there, an overpass, but Webker keeps it from going down, and then right back Carr makes it 14-18. It looked for a moment like Mendelson was just going to clean up another one off that overpass, but Webker, her defensive effort led to a kill the other way. The Buckeyes back within 4. Yoder, who's been an effective server today, goes down the line, played by Emmy Selman. Tip was covered nicely by Yoder. Ganesh deep to the corner. This time they fake to the slide and they go to Selman for the kill. Everybody was watching Mendelson because that was successful earlier. And that's a good job on the part of a experienced setter then to go in a different direction.
Yeah, and Selman as well really made that play offensively and defensively. On the defensive end, forcing Gauthier to go over her 6'4 frame, allow her back line to clean it up, and then just put it down on the other end.
Selman has really caught fire. I'm sure she wanted to play well today back at her former home facility. Back in the middle. Nathan got it and then rolled over on the second ball, covered though by Tuman. They go for Martin from the back, and again, from long range, she scores.
Yeah, Martin double today. She's got 19 kills, 11 digs now. Tack on 4 aces as well, having herself a heck of a day. And it looks like we're going to see a timeout.
20-14, Penn State. They're within range here, capturing this third set. Penn State, that's always a key, the first team to 20. And in this case, the first time where the other team hasn't been breathing down the team's neck when they get to 20. A little separation here for Penn State, but they've still got to keep playing tough and not give away points. It's Lexi Ginn now to the service line. Handled by Ganesh out wide for Gauthier. And the ball blocked, but landed on the Penn State side. Again, they were off the net. And it goes for the kill. 15-20. Pass by Selman. The slide there by Nichols. Again, they seem to have picked up on that. They go the other way. They block Selman. Excellent blocking, and wins Ohio State a free ball. And the swing in, the kill. And they earned that point with their blocking. Kaya Castle with the kill off the slide.
Yeah, that they did, and then Castle able to finish that up. Just second chance opportunities for Ohio State, making the most right there. And that's back-to-back points out of the timeout, trying to claw their way back in here.
That's the way to get back in. Strong blocking. Can not only win points for you, but can get your team going. Again, they go to Martin in the back, and again, she converts. She's like a, I don't know, Steph Curry hitting about 10 threes in a game or something.
Yeah, just another kill. 20 now on 40 attempts. You can just see that back row was pushed up for Ohio State, and Martin went right there.
21-16. Tipped. And that one wide by Castle. And Penn State up 22-16. This was the score. They were down to Nebraska in the fourth set of the national semifinal. They were down 2-1. They had been down 2-0. They ended up winning that and getting a reverse sweep. So they know as well as anyone that the match isn't over at 22-16. Lyon. Gauthier. Block. This time they're covered in the back by Hasbrook. The joust won by Nichols. A lot of times the taller player doesn't win the joust, but she won that one.
It's really taking control now here down the set. 2 points away from taking it. Another 3-0 run. You kind of mentioned earlier, not a ton of runs in this one, more in that first set especially, but Penn State has been on a couple of runs here in this third set. That's why they have this distance on Ohio State.
They appear to have put themselves together in that halftime break. They've come out a different team, although they have made still their share of service errors, but everything else, they have really picked up their game. Gauthier, that one handled by Nathan. Nichols, Hasbrook fended that one off. Bump set wide for Gauthier, again handled by Nathan, who's really roaming that back row well. Hasbrook with a dig in the middle, but not enough on it. And Martin, you do not want to just loft a floater in the range of Martin. She will bury it. Of course, a lot of players that might have had enough elevation to get over, but not a 6'6" player with a long reach. 8 set points. And it won't be that one, as Lyon's serve floats and just keeps right on floating.
Yeah, just not a lot of downward action on that one. That one just a liner right back over. That keeps Ohio State alive for at least one more point.
Stoller. That's a close football score. But in volleyball, at 24 and you're down 7, that's tough. Martin, that's it, with that radar-like accuracy, does it again. But it's one thing to have her couple of very impressive aces, too. So that's going to be a task for Ohio State and then some. But Webker coming right back to get them in front to begin the fourth set. No matter how you slice it, their first set victories put them in a position where all they have to do is win one set, they force a fifth, and anything can happen. Especially with the shortened fifth set. Just need to get to 15. It's like starting off at 10 all. Hasbrook with a serve. Martin. Well, just doesn't matter where on the floor she has got it rolling now.
Yeah, just clicking on all cylinders right here. And if you're either team here, but especially Penn State, if you can just put a big run here early, it's going to take pretty much all the wind out of this place in the sails of Ohio State.
Yeah, Ohio State a little vulnerable now. They need a quick start. Webker got the first kill with another good swing, but they keep it alive, and then Cherovicius tools the block to make it 2-1 Nittany Lions. And there definitely has been a little deflation in the atmosphere. This place was really rocking in the first set after Ohio State won in particular, but all through the first 2 sets. And there's kill by Carr, and Ohio State trying to get him back in and give him a reason to cheer again.
Yeah, Carr right there on the slide. She's been efficiently today. 8 kills now. That leads the team here for Ohio State, hitting 357.
Playing without Hannah Jones, they're trying to do it by committee. And they've done a pretty good job of it. In the middle, though, and Mendelson, she saw a wide open spot, just put the ball there.
Yeah, no hesitation. Don't try to do too much. You just see that open spot, just tap it right back down. And that's another point for Penn State.
She got a good set. Didn't have to adjust in midstream. Martin, and that one of her less accurate attempts in any manner all game long. And almost ended up in the pep band. And that's good for Ohio State because she was punishing them at the service line in the last set. Webker started off strong here in the fourth. The slide to Mendelson, another tip. Kept up in the air by Gunes, and the kill by Gauthier, and it is 4-3. Ohio State's moved back out in front. Now they got the crowd into it again.
Yeah, and this is kind of reminiscent of the first couple of sets. Back and forth, neither team getting momentum, particularly early. And that's what you have to do, especially if you're in the case of the Buckeyes right now. Don't let Penn State go on that huge run. You need a run of your own right here to try to put some distance.
4-3, and the service error for all. After the third set, the service error totals were 15 for Penn State, just 5 for Ohio State. But when one team's executing, the other team's getting points on the other team's service errors, it doesn't take long for one team to take over. Overpass, Selman was just waiting for that one. And she had no trouble finishing it off.
Yeah, Emmy Selman's not going to let that opportunity go to waste all that often. Just a nice little overpass right into her wheelhouse.
Served up on a platter. Tough serve, another overpass, and another one. So they gave her a platter for breakfast and another one for lunch on successive points. And she didn't make a mistake on either one. Nathan, 6-4. Tipped by Carr. And this time Selman goes flying in to keep it alive. Martin from the back row, kept up by Tuman. Tipped over again. Martin, she does a solid job in the back row too as an all-around player. Swing to Gauthier, block. And again, this time it falls on the Penn State side. And it's 5-6. Blockers were a little more compressed on the first swing than the second.
That's going to snap a 3-0 run for Penn State. You get another look at it here. You see there's a little bit of space in between those two blockers right there. She went right off the inside part of that.
Yoder just missed that line. But the Penn State players communicating well. They all backed away from it and let it fall out. (7-5). Mendelson rotating out. Did a very good job there in the front row. And it is Lexi Ginn on. She has done periodic service duty in this match. Hasbrook passes it over to Gauthier, the swing, and that was tough coming off the block, but Nathan was there. Now it's Selman, and that wasn't really quite where she could get full impact on it, and missed wide, 6-7. Güneş from Istanbul, capital of Turkey, formerly Constantinople, historic city. From the back, Martin. And they managed to avert the overpass. It looked like they might just get a good swing out of it, but Gauthier was on her way down before the ball got to her.
Yeah, it looked like she mistimed her jump that time, left the ground a little too early, realized, oh no, I still got a little bit of time before that ball comes down, and got it on the downside of her jump.
Couldn't quite levitate long enough. Lyon. And then get back on the service error. It's 7-8. And on comes Mia Staller. Ohio State's one mini run away from getting the lead and having a good chance to force a fifth set. Staller, the float serve, Grimes handles it nicely, and they get the swing by March. And that's the problem. You get the blockers there at 6-6, you can just hit right down on them, and there's very little you can do.
Yeah, exactly what she did right there, and it works out perfectly just like you draw it up.
9-7. Selman rotating out. She is really, after a slow start, become a big factor for Penn State. From the back row, Ohio State plaintively calling for a touch, but don't get it. And they might ask for a review on that.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
But I think it might be one of those situations where you might as well at this point.
You took the words right out of my mouth there. At this point for Ohio State, you see Penn State now up by 3 here with this call. Your backs are against the wall, 2-1. You might not have a better opportunity to make this challenge. So why not if you're Jen Flynn Oldenburg? And that's exactly what she does, because you need any point you can get right now. Obviously, with the way Penn State is really, I think they started to settle in over these last couple of sets, and I think that's been apparent. So you might as well. That's, I think, the big message here. See if you can get that 2-point swing. Every review's been successful today, so you're hoping that continues to stand.
It's one of the differences between a review called for late in a match where you might do it. Earlier on, you really want to at least believe that you have a decent chance of being vindicated. But late in the match, you might just kind of throw it out there and see maybe you'll be fortunate to get that call. But I thought that the signal they made was, did they reverse it? Yes, they did. I didn't think that they were all that enthusiastic about the challenge, but it turns out they won it. So that's why you do it. 8-9.
Pulls them back within one.
That's a big difference between that and 10-7 in the fourth set. Hasbrook. You need to avoid the service error on that, and she does. They get the block up, and tooling the block, though, Jaravicius had so much action on that ball that it just went flying all the way across the court, despite the presence of the two blockers. Grimes. And an ace. As Webker could not get the platform under it.
And Webker was in a good place right there, but just not able to clean and receive that ball. And that's the stuff you can't have at this point of the match if you're Ohio State.
Webker on the approach. Got a good swing. The two Penn State players almost collided. And that might have thrown things off a little bit on their pass. And the ball went long from Jaravicius.
Yeah, might have taken them out of rhythm just a little bit. Looked like it was Grimes amongst everyone trying to pull out that dig, and then Jaravicius just overcooked the swing.
Served by Tuman. Jaravicius passed it. Martin, if you get a good pass of that serve and you can get the ball cleanly to Martin, then you are in good shape if you're Penn State. There's few players that there's very little that you can do when they're in the zone to counteract, and she is one of them. 12-9. Hasbrook negotiates that serve. Webker with a big rip for the kill. Foul Dudo. Lunged to her right, but couldn't get to it. 10-12. And Webker now to the service line after the kill. That's the kind of point that can get you some momentum. And they need that right now. In the middle to Mendelson again. Hasbrook, it's up. Quick. Martin again, a good defensive effort. And she just rolls the ball over. In the back, Webker. Martin plays it with a great dig. He is an all-around player. And that block, the ball rebounded out. And Penn State, the point, Jaravicius the kill.
Yeah, Jaravicius starting to get a lot of attacks here over his last few points. Just pounds it right into that block, and it came wildly off the hand of the Buckeye blocker that time. And Penn State, they're kind of just trading points back and forth. They're fine to hold this three-point plateau.
Martin, a couple of good digs in that rally. Sure she doesn't get nearly the credit for her defensive play. Big swing, that was kept up in the air nicely by Tuman. Again, Martin, and just very difficult to absorb that ball and keep it in play, even when you're in position as a blocker.
You see Martin getting above everyone. You kind of mentioned it a couple of times today. Just hit down onto the block, went right off the hands of Gauthier that time, and that puts Penn State up. This is their biggest lead of the set here at 4.
Nathan. Back for Gunes. Martin again, a steady back row player defensively. Webker flying from the back, put it into the net. I specified defensively for Martin's back row play because she's gotten so many kills from back there. 15-10, Ohio State a timeout, and they've got to utilize it to get back into this game as Penn State seems. There is Kennedy Martin. I think what we're seeing today, keeping fully in mind that it's a team game, and if you don't get the ball to your big hitter in a situation where she can take advantage of it, then she's limited to what she can do like a quarterback if they don't have good pass protection. However, if you give her that, Kennedy Martin is an individual player who could just totally turn the game around.
I mean, obviously, yes, she's been a huge part of this match so far. 26 kills, 50 swings, only 4 attack errors here. She's hitting .440. But Penn State has done a good job, too, of getting it to other players here. Jara Vicious had a couple of big swings here in this set. Emmy Selman really just started to come alive in set number 2. So while Martin obviously has had a huge game, and obviously a big reason why Penn State's up, they've done a good job of getting it to other people as well. And everyone's seeming to step up over the last couple of sets here for Penn State, putting themselves in this position to potentially put this thing away here in the 4th set, up 5.
And as I said, Martin's gotten a lot of her kills from the back row. So when she's not in the front row, then those other players have really been picking up the slack. And now it's Nathan. Good serve, but good pass. Martin again, but double contact was called on Ohio State.
That's a 4-0 run now for Penn State, and that's where your back's against the wall for Ohio State. Can't make mistakes like that.
Hasbrook again reacted well to that tough serve go there. Look at Nathan there on that flying dig. Pushed over by Selman. Ohio State should get a good swing here. Gunesh with the block is there. Mendelson and Selman. And it's 17-10. And it's another close football score, but one that in volleyball is pretty daunting. And Ohio State plays Penn State next week, so.
That they do. What a dig there by Nathan to set that one up for the block on the other end, and Penn State up by 7.
17-10. It's almost now or never time for the Buckeyes as Nathan about to serve for Penn State. Ohio State took the first set. They battled right down to the wire in the second set. Had they been able to prevail, this thing could still be on the verge of going 5. But they did not. And Martin again, as she continues to play well on the back row, making a number of digs, and they're not particularly easy ones either. Now she's hitting from the back. Two-man overpass, and that set it up for Selman.
I think if there's one thing you can learn from today is you don't want to set up Emmy Selman on an overpass, because that's now 3 times here in this set that she has made Ohio State pay.
And again, Martin was the one who set it up. First with the dig, then with the swing, and Selman with the put away. Going over cagily on the second ball there, Addie Lyon, making it 19-10.
Beautiful. Just making it look easy as Penn State now, up to a 7-0 run.
It's tough to fill the shoes of an Izzy Stark, but she has been very, very valuable for Penn State with her experience in that setter's role. A graduate student, so very well experienced. Out wide, Selman. The ball was out. They ruled a touch, though, so it will be 20-10 Penn State. And with each set, they have been gathering strength. And they've cut down their own errors, and I think that's one of the reasons why they're winning as decisively as they are this time. Quick in the middle and finished off nicely by Ashley Carr. And she vented maybe a little frustration on that hit. Put some extra into it.
Oh, yeah. Definitely for sure, and that's been a big part. You mentioned those errors. Penn State cleaning that up a little bit, being just consistent on the attack right now. Ohio State, you got to find that run here in this set, or else this thing could be over.
Penn State showing no signs of flagging. There's Mendelson. That one got caught up in the net despite a good effort from Yoder. And it is 21-11. And Penn State seems to have the momentum that could carry them across the finish line, especially as now they have the serve back with Karis Willow and Martin back in the front row. Getting some of the reserves in. And she bounces the ball on her approach. Of course, she picks it up again and serves. Quick in the middle, but they manage to stop Castle. Tip, but covered by Selman. Second ball, Lyon. Great get by Tuman. Martin is extremely steady there in that right back position. Yodish, again Martin. Almost looks like a DS back there, the way she plays defense. Bump to the net. over. That time she got it with her shoulder. What can't Martin do? This time she swipes a bump across, a free ball, and Ohio State takes advantage with Castle, but not before. Martin hit 3 digs there in the back row.
Yeah, but Ohio State still getting the point. Good vision that time by Kaya Castle. Looked up right before she swung, saw that left corner of the floor was wide open and went right there.
Gunesh, she's been one of the better Buckeyes in this match. Nathan pass serve, Martin from the back row. Hasbrook found the setter off the slide, but again going down, so really could not capitalize on that swing. Gauthier does though, and it's 13-21. Ohio State not giving up the ship. They have not yet begun to fight, keeping it with the naval analogies. And the serve by Gunesh, trying to get a run going. There's Selman blocked. Bump to the back for Martin, and put down by Castle.
Some signs of life for Ohio State. Still got a hole to dig out of here, but that's 3 straight, I believe, and so they're showing a little life here, trying to climb back into this one.
21-14. Still needs a few more before you can get excited, and unfortunately that service error. At this point, there's very little margin of error. You have to be aggressive, but that will lead to errors sometimes. And it is 22-14. Mayan, this former St. Louis Billiken. Gauthier, that one a whistler that got past the 2 blockers, made it tough for the back row because of the way the ball came off the block.
Yeah, had side spin right off that hand. Definitely makes it a little bit more tougher.
Staller, 15-22. Buckeye fans hoping there's still a chance, and that'll be an ace. Nathan seemed to slip as she was trying to get back, and she couldn't get to it. I think she would have had little chance.
It's the 8th.
And they are. She did slip, and that's why they're going to send out the sweeper.
Good spot. That's the 8th ace of the match here for Ohio State. 12th now on the season for Staller.
It's doubtful they could have gotten that ball back over anyway, but nevertheless, for future points, they want to make sure that there's no condensation on the floor, and Selman showing them where to sweep. She probably knows every inch of this floor very well. 16-22. Buckeyes still trying to climb into what could be called real contention. They need a few more to do it, but Nichols tightens that margin for error even more. 23-16 off a good set.
I mean, yeah, that's the big part. Beautiful set that time by Lyon. Just allowed Nichols to really just jump, elevate herself, get over everyone, and just able to pound that back down.
Faldudo. He's 2 away from putting it in the bank. Webker and a block. Nichols and Martin. And that makes it 8 match points, and it looks like Ohio State is just about out of octane. A final timeout. But it's going to take something really in the nature of the miraculous now. 24-16. Penn State converts one of these next 8 points. It's their match. And they would move to 7-3 on the season. Ohio State would have their 10th loss in as many outings in the Big Ten, but they have played strong and well in this match. Webker, the block, out though, so 17-24. Credit Webker with the kill. It's not over yet, but it's teetering on the brink. Hasbrook. She'll need the service run of service runs to salvage this, and that's a promising start with an ace.
Yeah, 2 straight off the timeout now for Ohio State. Another ace for Hasbrook. She's got 5 today.
At 16 as a team leader, so 21 now. Just get to the 20 mark and then think about after that. Float serve, handled well. Nichols, and it fell to the ground. Hasbrook couldn't get there in time on the dive, and that's it. 25-18, Penn State victorious.